Houston, what's going on? Houston, what's going on? Everybody around Houston, around the country, around the city, around the world. What's going on? This is Soapbox Heroes, you guys. Glad to be here with you guys today. And I know, as usual, I always start off by saying there is so much going on. Yes, there is always so much going on. Sometimes you wonder, how am I going to fit all of this into 2 hours? And then you just have to tell yourself, well, self, you can't. You can't. There's no way to it. Oh man, you'd be surprised how many times that you'll have a complete show already thought of in your head, already written down on paper. You've already studied the subject. You've already put your due diligence behind what you're going to be talking about. And you set it up, and by the time you get to the station, everything changed. Everything changed, you guys, and that's part of what's going on right now in this fast-paced media cycle. Everything goes so fast. We don't we don't really even have time to digest the news. And so, yeah, you guys, I'm going to talk about a few things today. Yesterday, Barack Obama came out and he endorsed Joe Biden. Yes, Barack Obama endorsed Joe Biden, which I don't know if that was really a big surprise, but yes, it did happen. Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders got together and they did a conference call. They did an actual video call, actually, and they got on there and they spoke with each other and they they agreed to touch hands and agree on a few things. So we had that happen. What else did we have happen today? I mean, well, we had Trump backing out from the WHO. People feel a certain way about that. That's the World Health Organization. So yes, we are definitely we're going to talk about that just a little bit. We're going to tap on that. Then we're going to tap the break and get on out of there. But like I said, you guys, it's a lot to talk about. People are still talking about the way that the coronavirus is being counted as far as the number of deaths and infections. And there's something that I definitely want to talk to you guys about. I definitely want to talk about these press conferences. I want to talk about these press conferences that they seem to meander on for hours at a time. They meander on for hours at a time. Sometimes it seems like you come out of the press conference more confused than you were before you went into the press conference. And I don't know if that's by design or if that's by accident, but that's something that I've been noticing, as far as myself as of lately. I go into it feeling like, you know what? I have a I have a solid foundation of what I know is going on here today. Today. And then I get to watching the press conference and I get to hearing the scramble. And then I say, well, you know what? I guess I don't have that firm of a grasp of what is going on here today. I don't got I don't have as firm as a grasp as I thought. I think Donald Trump, I think he I think when he elaborates, he gets himself into big trouble. What's going on, Tone? I see you over there. I think when he elaborates, he gets himself into big trouble. I think he is too in search of adulation. He wants somebody to say something good about him too much, and I don't think that's what good leadership is made of. But also, I do see certain elements of the media trying to pick a fight because they know the things about this guy that will start a fight. But we're going to talk about all that when we come back, you guys. The phone number is 713-668-1230. My name is Tyrone Irvin. This is Soapbox Heroes, and we'll be right back right after this. 1230, the source caller. What's on your mind?
On the phone with Tyrone.
On the phone. What's going on with you?
Hey, this is TK.
He will fixing all the good things. Without that glow, she was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to
while I'm listening and talking to y'all. Don't ever lose you like this. I sing a song.
What would I got you guys? What would I?
Hey, it's the source, baby.
It's the
12:30,
source.
the source.
Yep, it's 12:30 the source. All right. Got that out the way. What's going on, you guys? How you feeling? Hey, Betty Boos. Hey, Tony. Press conferences are like most meetings. A lot of talking and saying nothing. Look, man, it's a lot of grandstanding. It's a lot of listen to me, listen to me. I guess we'll talk about these here press conferences. We'll talk about these here press conferences. To me, it's just a big poop show. It's all the way around, all the way around. All the way around. So what's going on, Tone? How you been today? Hi, Betty Boo. I know how you're doing. I gotta turn down the music so they don't block the whole video. Hopefully I don't forget toward the end. I always forget. I gotta do something about the picture. I'm never ready when they take the picture. So I'll be looking crazy. Oh well. So what, you guys ready to get back to life as normal? Chris, what's going on, Chris? You still there? What's going on, Chris? That's what they're proposing. And this is the thing. I know a lot of the governors and stuff in public act like they don't want to get back to it, but I think in private they do. We're gonna talk about these press conferences first. Heem, what's going on with you, Raheem? How you feeling, man? What's going on, Heem? How is it out there in Arizona? What's going on out there in the world? Oh man, it's good. That's good, man. Under quarantine, what are the rules? Are they being extra strict? Are people obeying the quarantine? That's the question. Is the question, my friend. The state and local offices counting the tax revenue or lack of calls because of the slow shutdown or lack of calls because of the shutdown. Yeah. Well, if I mute it, I might not be able to unmute it. Does it sound? Oh, you know what? How is the sound? I have to use another mic. So if the sound is bad, let me know so I could turn it down from here. It's having issues today. My YouTube is sick. I don't want to say nothing bad though. For the most part, they're open. Okay. What's going on, Diddy? Let me come back. Let me see if this song over. Cool, Tone. Thank you. Thank you. Sounds good over there. I'm about to get started. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Soapbox Heroes. Look, you guys, over the break, over the song break, I was talking to my main man over here on YouTube. I was talking to Tone. And I got my cousin Raheem over here. This is the good element of social media and the technology. But I think there's some negative elements to it as well. So, misinformation. I don't know if misinformation is better than no information because at least with misinformation, you can figure out if there's misinformation. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But speaking of misinformation and misguided information and information that confuses me sometimes, I want to talk about these press conferences, these coronavirus updates that we are getting every day between Donald Trump and the press. Yes, Donald Trump and the press. And hey, you guys, look, I look at it like a sport. At this point in time, I said, hey, I'm quarantined, can't do too much. The only thing I can do is really just work and pay attention to what's going on. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, that's what you be doing anyway. And so I'm sitting here and I'm watching these press conferences. Oh, and yesterday I didn't get a chance to talk about it. The press conference started off with some extra drama. Yes, indeed. It started off with extra drama. Donald Trump walks up there and he's talking, and he's of course he's taking credit. And that's what I noticed one in the press conferences. When it comes to him, it seems like he's trying to project the optimistic tone. And at the same time, it seems like he's not trying to take on any responsibility or talk about anything negative that may be coming because of the coronavirus or the lack of response or anything. And so then you get these stalemates. But it was interesting what he did the other day. He came on, he came with a video, and on this video, he was showing different people agreeing with him. He was talking about how different governors like him and were listening to him and all this good, shining, glaring stuff about the vanguard that he wants to feel as if he is. And so I thought it was kind of funny. I hadn't saw a press conference like that or an update like that, and I think that's where it's kind of troubling because instead of just updating us on what's happening with the coronavirus, updating us what's us on what's happening with the numbers of people, the victims, of this virus, the businesses, the income, the angst that people are saying. It's more it's more like he's just trying to campaign constantly. He's up there constantly trying to swing a sword. And that's why personally I say I think he's a bad leader. And I'm moving aside from policy because I do like to judge things on policy. I'm one of those type of people. But it's like you also have a certain you have to have a certain kind of decorum to be the president. Not and I know a lot of people say, well, we're too caught up on personalities. And I think that can be true. But it's not just the personality, it's not just the decorum, it's the way that you're steering the country and the perception of the country and the feeling of the people in the country. See, oftentimes he'll talk about market confidence. Yeah, you guys, market confidence, confidence in the market. Or you'll hear him say things like investor confidence. And so, what I would like to do is, I would like to move those terms over to normal people, to regular people, to me and you. What is your confidence? See, so often he only wants to measure the country by what it looks like the top 1% is, or even higher than the 1%. and what big businesses are doing and what the stock market is doing. And so I wanted to measure the country on how everybody else is doing. That's how I want to measure the country. It can't just be based on, everybody that has everything. And so I would like to ask you, what is your confidence? Because they always talk about the market confidence. They always talk about the investor confidence. They always say it. If you guys listen to market news or specific news that is tailored to people who are in the stock market, they talk about market confidence. Yes, indeed. They talk about market confidence. And I think that that is something that, okay, if that's what you want to assess it by, that's cool. That's cool. Assess it by market confidence. But at the same time, you have to assess the confidence of the people. That is a metric that isn't considered at all. That isn't considered at all. So I would like to hold that same question to you guys. What is you guys' confidence in the president? The phone number is 713-668-1230. 713-668-1230. But look, hold on. I definitely want to talk about these press conferences. Now, I've said a lot about him. I've said a lot about Donald Trump. Now, the other day he came out with and do I think it was propaganda? Yes, I think it was propaganda. And it was a video again, and it was showing governors and mayors and officials and people going on certain news channels that were agreeing with him. And I said, okay, I get it. He's trying to prove a point. And of course, it's bellicose in its approach, but of course, that's what he's going to do. And I said, well, okay, let's move beyond that. Let's move beyond that. That was childish. But then the media follows up with childish questions as well. And when I say childish, it's like this. At this point in time, they know how he's going to react to certain things. And so, I do think that they want to keep it stuck on those things that are going to have him like a child. The other day, and I am not paraphrasing this is a verbatim quote. He said, I try to make sure that I say it right now. He said, I like controversy. Then he paused. And then he said, well, good controversy. Of course. And I said to myself, well, what the hell is good controversy? Good controversy, okay. And so I tried to break it down. That's like maybe an argument over who's the better basketball player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Shaq. It can be controversial, but it's not negative. It's not going to hurt anybody. But the controversy that we have going on between Donald Trump and the media is very negative. The vitriol is there, and I think it can hurt people. I think it can hurt people just based on things that we think we learn, things that we perceive, and who do we believe? Who do we believe at this point in time where we have a president who obviously lies? Who obviously lies. And this is the part about me. Not I try not to come with a partisan lens. And in doing that, I feel I can honestly say that the media, sometimes they don't just directly lie, but they omit crucial facts. Not only do they omit crucial facts, they only show parts of sound bites. And before you can see the rest of the full sound, they already have pontificated on how you should feel. Now you've absorbed the sound bite and their feeling of the sound bite. So by now you have a feeling, but you haven't had to take a chance to go look at the whole context of what it is you saw. And so often, yeah, the media does play games and play tricks like that. They're meant to make sound bites. And a lot of the press conference, it has become who can make the best sound bite. Who can make the best sound bite? And it gets frustrating after a while because I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want a sound bite. I want some solid information. Some solid information. And this is what I do every day. I've been thinking about doing it and doing little daily videos if I got some time. But I want to call it Trump versus the media because, take a daily tabulation of who wins. For example, today, the media kicked his butt. Today, the media kicked his butt. He was backpedaling. Every question that was asked, a reporter asked a question about his name Be check because people have been talking about, why is your name on the checks? Did you slow things down to put your names on the checks? Well, to put your name on the check? And his answer was, I didn't slow that. I don't think it's slowing down. But she asked why. But he never answered the question of why. What he did was the presidential sidestep. The presidential sidestep. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. He did the presidential sidestep where he didn't answer the question about why he wanted his name on the check. He talked about what he perceived was the process of putting his name on the check. And when he talked about the process, it was very vague. He was just saying, well, I don't think that I've slowed anything down. And then he went on to say, he said, the people are going to be happy when they get a big fat check with my name on it. And I said, big fat. What is he considering big fat? What part of the game is this? What part of the game is this? He is calling these checks big fat checks. The funny part about the big fat check, the funny part about the big fat check is a majority of the big fat check is going to go into the economy, into companies who just got a big fat bailout. And not a bailout on money that they lost, but a bailout on perceived losses. I think we have to remember that when we talk about bailouts. It's not like they spent all their money, they were cash strapped on the street, and then they just came and gave them some money to give them a boost. No, these are companies who were just making record profits. They just don't want to spend them on you. So we have to remember that. We have to remember that. And so then in the press conference, and Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci. Now, this has been, I've been seeing varying arguments going back and forth about Dr. Fauci and whether he is a lone wolf, a rebel without a cause, well, a rebel with a cause, or if he really is in line with Donald Trump. And then you have another group of people saying, well, is he down with Bill Gates? Is there an agenda? And then today with the news about the WHO, with the World Health Organization, and Trump saying he's going to put a halt on to the funding, there was a lot of people saying, well, and I even saw some news articles and accounts saying, well, Donald Trump severs ties with the WHO and Bill Gates. And so Bill Gates is being linked with the WHO, and that's something that personally, before I elaborate on further, and especially with specificity and detail, I would like to make sure that I look into it more. So I can't go in too far on that. So I won't. So I won't. So I will not. But just letting you guys know what's out there, just letting you guys what people know what people are talking about, just in case you don't know. I'll be out there. I put my nose in the streets every now and then. Let me see what's going on. What is the people talking about? But yes, you guys, when it comes down to these press conferences, it's like monkeys throwing dung at each other. Monkeys, who's going to duck and who's going to get hit with the dong? And so again, I have been keeping score. I've been keeping tabulations on who wins what, because again, you guys, Donald Trump says that he likes controversy. And I have to admit, based on what I've been seeing, it seems like some of the entities in the media also thrive off of said controversy. So it is like a match made in hell that we have to endure. Because to me, journalism, it comes without opinion. You just want to get the questions in. And when you're asking somebody, trying to get them entrapped in something, or if you're going to say something that's going to make them mad. Now, I'm not saying not to make anybody mad. Don't step on your journalistic integrity to not make anybody mad. But if the question is just in question, it's just a got you question. It's the question I'm just going to trip you up. I know we're going to make a good soundbite off of this. I know that you're going to give me a 15-minute answer, but we're going to be able to use 8 seconds of it to infuriate everybody and then make us watch us later on tonight. And then now everybody's already infuriated about it. We can't give you the full clip. Now we're just going to talk about the little part that we put out and we're going to pontificate on that. And so, yes, that is something that I see as well with a very fragile, egoed man. So that's what I'm saying. The whole thing is like a dung show. Is it okay for me to call it a dung show? Monkeys throwing dung at each other. Monkeys throwing dung. And again, he's very evasive when it comes down to questions about things that he had may have done wrong. There always is a bunch of evasiveness when it's time for him to take responsibility for something. And so that's what I noticed. That's what I noticed. And the media knows that. I think Donald Trump is like the kid that you know how to make him act up. I mean, he got a bad attitude. He's full of himself. And, he feels as if he knows information that nobody else knows. And then I would say maybe there is time that is true. But there's certain people that know how to push their buttons for certain reactions. And there's certain people that have no impulse control, such as he. And so that's why I say it's a dung throwing contest, because they know he has no impulse control. And so they constantly test his impulse, and his impulse is always to say something off the hip. I think his biggest mistake is when he elaborates, because when he elaborates, he tends to get so bombastic and go so far. But at the same time, I can see why it's so defensive when it does seem like the media is constantly trying to catch you in something wrong. And so that's why I say there has to be some type of balance if we're going to see any change, or if we're going to just keep seeing a circular firing squad between Donald Trump and the media. Because this is a man that does want to get back into the presidency. He does want to win. And I've noticed since day one, he seems to fight everything what he says head on. And so if you cause a problem, he's going to make a problem. But then again, that's what I think the problem is when he over elaborates and over exerts. And this is just what it seems like. It seems like sometimes he goes home, he goes back to the White House or wherever he sleeps, and get on the phone and talk to one of his buddies and be like, man, what do you think? And his buddy tell him what his buddy think, and he called another buddy, man, what are you thinking? He get a couple of opinions from his buddy, and he come out fired up. And so I don't know the expert that he's talking to behind the scenes versus the experts that's in his face, but he's clearly a person that's skeptical of things that already have been in place, that have already been in place. And so if you know a person has a particular skepticism, then it's easy to poke at that to make them react a certain way. Now, do I think that his reaction is very childish? I think his reactions are childish. I think he should be able to handle it in a different manner. I also think that he shouldn't worry so much about self-adulation. And then even beyond self-adulation, then he wants to go to the, the administration, and then he'll throw in the doctors. We got to, congratulate the doctors and everybody else. But I think you don't have to worry about that. Sometimes when you're fighting the fight, you got to fight the fight and worry about what the people are saying later. And he spends more time worrying about what people are saying. So there's always, always, always something to prove. And then you have certain people in the media who always, always, always have something to prove. And so it's a clash. It's a clash. I seen him the other day. He called one reporter. He says, you're a disgrace. You guys are just disgraceful. Again, you guys. Now, see, remember, a couple of weeks ago in one of these press conferences, there was another reporter, and when he said you guys to her, people put it in a racial terms. They said, well, it's racist. It's racist. And I said, well, no, he always says you people. And he said it time and time since then, but I did notice again today, he said you people. So I just want to throw that out there. And I want to throw that out there because that's also me illustrating how the media will take something that's very common and twist it up for people that don't know, because you may not have the time to watch these press conferences all the time. You may not have the stomach to. You may not want to. You may, whatever it is. And so that's my point. Things get twisted up and mangled and used as a political football on both sides of the equation. And we have to sit there and sift it out. But in between sifting it out, what bothers me is now we're arguing to the point to where we don't like each other. We don't like each other because we're having a hard time dissecting what's good information from bad information from the information givers. From the information givers, Raheem says, that's why I stopped watching the news. Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what I do? I watch different news organizations. I do reading of different publications. And I also watch news overseas. And it's funny. If you watch news in some of the places that were hit by the coronavirus and responded or started taking numbers earlier and data earlier, you can see that things we're going through today, they went through last month. The same questions, even questions when it come down to counting. And so I do feel like we are being woefully, neglectfully left out of certain information because you know what? We're getting spoon fed. We're getting spoon fed. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's been bills passed and signed since we have been in quarantine, but we're not talking about it. Like I say, it's so much going on, you guys. It's so much going on. These press conferences, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Sometimes I say, oh man, it's like a science experiment. It's like a jungle. Sometimes it make me wonder how I keep watching it. But again, it does make for entertaining television. And I am a person that, I look at this as a sport at this point in time because it is being played. It's a strategic sport. Everybody wants to see who could get the next up. um, the Republicans are trying to out left the Democrat when the Democrats when it comes down to stimulus because we're coming up to an election, and then you got the left going to out left them. And so we got a move to the left, and it makes you wonder, well, what was you guys' problem with Bernie Sanders? And then we got Bernie endorsing Joe Biden, which didn't surprise me at all. Bernie Sanders always says that he's an independent. He runs as an independent. I hear it. I get it. I hear it. He caucuses as a Democrat because he has to, but he's registered. What is he? A registered socialist, democratic socialist, or independent, something of that nature. But over the last 17 years, I went back and I did a little homework, and it seems like every single chance that he can, he ends up kind of just folding to the DNC. And so I said, well, are you really not a Democrat if everything you end up doing is capitulating to what the Democrats want for you? Because to me, that makes you a Democrat. I mean, that's just me. That's just me. That's just me. I'm just one person. I'm just one person. But hey, you guys, look, this is 1230 The Source. My name is Tyrone Irvin. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back right after this. You guys hold on tight. We're going to be right back. All right, let me end this over here. Ouchie. And whether he is, I enjoy seeing the media give him shit for things he said 2 days ago, and then he lies about it. Yeah, he forget because he be saying so much nonsense. But then this is the danger. This is the danger because this is the danger when you have more than one person that lied, but you only focus on one person that lied. That means you let everybody else get away with their lies. And that be my thing. I know he lied. I know he lied. And then my thing be when he get the tap dancing, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. But then when he get out there and say certain things, they also ring very true as well. And some of it be things that we don't always necessarily want to hear, like about the WHO. What he's been saying about the WHO, in my opinion, is very true. Now, is he trying to scapegoat? Hell yeah. We know that. We know that. That's what he do. That's what he do. He ain't gonna take the blame for nada. Ever. Ever. Only thing he gonna take the blame for is something good. That's it. Okay, I see it, Raheem. I just got it. Well, I just checked my messages. And see, look, and that's my thing. I don't have a. Oh, I saw this.
I've never seen a video like that playing in this room. It looks a bit like a campaign ad. Who produced that video for you? That was done by Abbott Center, which is.
Yeah, I see this right here. Yeah, and he had a big old gap in it. I see that he he had a 1 month gap in the video. And when she asked him about it, he got mad. What's up, Tom? It's all for the show. Never let them see you sweat. And deny, deflect, deflect. That's it. That's it. That's his presser. That's it. Would you say, Betty Boo? Right. He wants confidence and think when we pat him on the back, we feed his confidence. Absolutely. But the thing is, with people like that, you can get anything you want out of them. You just got to be smart enough to do it. That's the catch when it comes to that. That's the catch when it comes to that. That's the catch when it comes to that. All right, y'all. I'm about to shut this off. Go to YouTube, the Soapbox Heroes channel on YouTube. Hi, Miss ZPQD. ZPQD, I'm slow. Gotta figure out what that means. But come over to the YouTube. Go to the Soapbox Heroes channel. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We give to the needy, not the greedy. Talking about these here press conferences going on, these press conferences, the coronavirus updates that seem to be campaign rallies mixed in with headline grabbing rallies, mixed in with, as I say, dung throwing competition, mixed in with a certain level of incompetence, mixed in with a certain level of bellicose behavior, mixed in with a certain nature, a certain element of insecurity, and mixed in with a battle between CNN and Donald Trump. And the consequences, we got to sit there and watch it. We got to sit there and watch it. And we don't have to watch it, but we do have to live under the cloud that they are casting over us and the cloud that they are casting over our country. And like I said, and I don't necessarily feel as if I have to hold the water for either side. I want to just go ahead and just tell it for what I see it. Tell it for what I see. And today Trump was talking about trying to get through some judges that they've been trying to get through for 2 years and 2.5 years. And now they're going to need these judges to manage certain things because see what he's doing is he's trying to play hardball. He's trying to leverage. He's trying to leverage. He's trying to say, well, now that we have this pandemic going on, I need you guys to put these people in place or you guys will be failing the country, or you guys will be failing the country. And so that's what you call a strong arm tactic. And what makes me laugh about the strong arm tactics is this: is remember, what was it, Judge Garland, when Barack Obama was trying to appoint Judge Garland, it was Mitch McConnell. It was Mitch McConnell who said, hey, no, I think we should wait 1 year for an election, quote unquote, for the people to decide. Quote unquote, for the people to decide. So he held up a Supreme Court nominee for an entire year. Yes, indeed, for an entire year, under the auspices of we are doing this for the people. And so now I think it's a little bit hypocritical talking about how another side won't do something because they're holding it up for over a year. And now it's in need. There were people who felt we needed that last Supreme Court nominee at the time. But the danger in all of this is it seems like we're just going to go round and round and round. We are going to go. We are going to stop. It seems as if nobody knows. Because if we go back just a little bit in time, we have to remember when the same things were happening to Barack Obama. Remember when even when in the daily briefings, they would get so contentious by certain, now he handled them a lot better. But you remember when the questions would be contentious, and it seemed like a certain network, Fox News, was just trying to get him on everything he did, good or bad. They would never report the good. They would only report the bad. They would only take small parts and small segments of long speeches and sometimes endorsements and things of that nature. And they would just play a small little taste. And they would lace that taste with a bunch of opinion and innuendo. And there were people saying, like, wait a minute, this isn't true. They must hate this man. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that there are people that feel like that about Donald Trump. There are people who feel like that about Donald Trump, and I do see an element of it. But what I see is the danger of us, again, circling in this sort of circular firing squad to where we never get any progress. Because if we remember, the Congress was the do nothing Congress under President Obama as well, especially after he lost the House and Senate 2 years in. Well, after he lost power in the Senate 2 years in. And it was known as the do nothing Congress. And again, we have the do nothing Congress, but I like to say it's do nothing in the context of the people. It's do nothing in the context of the people. Because when it comes down to do nothing, that means they literally don't do nothing. But we got to remember that there are certain things that they do agree on. Now, those things aren't touted. Those things aren't spoken about as much as the things that they disagree on, which I would probably say is far less than the things that they actually do agree on. I think they're far less, you guys. I think they are far less than what they actually do agree on. But hey, you guys, look, what are we supposed to do about it? We have to, let me go ahead and get this started over here. I'm trying to multitasking while we're doing this quarantining. We're keeping the station clean. We're keeping it safe. There's only one of us in here at a time. And being that there's only one of us in here at a time, we have to at all times make sure that we still handling our business, but we're keeping our social distance. And so what I was saying is at this point in time is when it comes down to politics, to me, the intricacies of it, well, the real argument isn't over what policies they agree and disagree on. The real argument seems to be over who is going to take the blame. It's like this. Me and you look at each other and say, you know what? We want to get this money. We want to get this money. Now, look, my side is not going to agree with it if it's coming from your side, and your side isn't going to agree with it if it's coming from my side. And you know what? It might be bipartisan. People might come together and not like what we're doing in general. And so since that is the case, We still want the money, right? Yeah, we still want the money. You want the money? Yeah, I want the money. So we're going to take the money. Okay, we're going to take the money. But what's the problem? The problem is I can't take the blame. We're going to have to blame it on you. Oh, no, you can't blame it on me. You can't blame it on me. You know, I'm going to lose my election if you blame it on me if it looks like it's my fault. Well, I'm going to lose my district if it looks like it's my fault. And so they agree on the basis of the principle of what it is that they're going after. They just don't agree on whose fault it's going to be. They don't agree on whose fault it's going to be. Who's going to take the blame for this, me or you? And again, when you look at the stimulus, now we have politicians, we have AOC coming out. AOC, what is it? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's coming out talking about how bad the bill is. She didn't like the bill, but the bill passed 96 to nothing. And they did it was with no record, which means they did it in private, and it only would have took one member to say, you know what, we want to on the record. But get out there and say it. Get out there and say it, at least grandstand on it, because that's what you do. You grandstand. Well, you have one person grandstanding, and he was from Tennessee. But most of our popular politicians, there was no grandstanding there. Everybody was okay with doing it in private. Everybody was okay with passing a bill that, they knew nobody was going to be able to finish reading before they took the vote. That had all kind of updates and drafts and different things and bad things in it for the people down low and good things in it for the people up high. And they mutually shook hands, smiled, and got out on TV and told us how great it is. And now that people are thumbing through it, now some of them are saying, well, I didn't think it was good, but they voted for it. So again, and time again, when it comes to certain things, even when it came down to healthcare, when it came down to single payer, there were so many capitulations to the Republicans, it ended up becoming a very watered down bill and something that was very wanted by everybody anyway. So are the people winning when we do that? Are the people winning when we do that? I don't think the people are winning. The phone number is 713-668-1230, 713-668-1230. When we come back, we are going to be talking about there's some things going on in Africa. Well, no, not in Africa. There's some things going on in China to Africans who have the coronavirus. As a matter of fact, they don't even have to have the coronavirus. They just have to be African. They don't even have to be suspected of being affected with the coronavirus. Well, I guess in China, being African is enough to be considered affected by coronavirus. Hey, you guys, look, my name is Tyrone Irvin. This is 1230 The Source. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come right back to you. We're going to get right into that. We're going to talk about what's going on in China and how they treating Africans that may or may not have the coronavirus. Tap the thumbs up button. Man, it's hard out here in these streets, Tom. You said them crawfish good? Yes, yeah. He said them good? Yes, yeah. We had some crawfish yesterday. They was good. I was excited. They charged $4 a piece, $4.99 or something per sausage. And I thought they was the little sausage. They was big sausage, but they was $4.99 each. $4.99 each. You already tapped the like. Thank you for tapping the like. Much appreciated. We need some likes tapped. Quarantine crawfish are better. Okay, really? We get out of here on Instagram. But hey, yeah, man, this quarantine is crazy. But it's people around the world they start to trip. Everybody ain't liking it. Everybody not liking it. I was looking at London, they say violating their rights by making them quarantine. So they saying we shouldn't even have to quarantine. And it's funny because when you read a lot of the like the comments and stuff on the videos, it's a lot of people just saying how they don't believe it. It's weird. A lot of people don't believe what's going on or believe the word of governor. I mean, of governments right now, and it's around the world. Like literally around the whole world. Well, friend, they can't collect unemployment. Oh, they still soliciting? You know, somebody still gonna make them go try to make some money. You know, people cold, Tony. Cold. People don't got no heart. Yeah, maybe they got the 1,200. And that's crazy. I see people shaming people for taking the 1,200. And then I see people saying, well, if you dislike Donald Trump, don't take the $1,200. Well, it wasn't his $1,200. Like it's not solely his money. What's on your mind, Carl? Hey, I don't see why people do that. They say, well, if you don't like Donald Trump, why are you taking the money? I'm like, well, it's not his money. What kind of put down is that? It's not his cash. Yeah. It's so much drama. It's so much drama, Green.
They don't want us. They call us police.
I think you over here, Green.
Neighborhood, but
I think you in this commercial.
White entertainer, you see, they got a big 6'5" dark skin Negro they fighting. But you know how it is.
Absolutely, you made my day with that. You made my day. It might not be this one.
Okay, brother. Entertainer, I love you so. God bless you and all my KCOA listeners. Y'all continue to know each other. Stay home. And,
no, it's not this
and,
one.
If you can,
I think it comes.
To the supermarket, don't go. And if you do go, just one of y'all go. Don't take the whole family. One of y'all go to the supermarket. You'll need all y'all catching it. And keep your hands washed. And, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, let me turn that down. Facebook shut me down. Yeah. Hey, what do you guys think about the WHO? You know about the World Health Organization? There's a lot of people that are saying, he shouldn't have defunded it. But I don't know why. Why not? Like they don't have no power. They can't do nothing. Like somebody equated it to me like an insurance policy. I said, well, the insurance policy didn't work. What you gonna keep paying for it for? Did he sign the check he gave to Stormy? Do you know that they later came out and said that that was all false? She ended up saying it was false. Now I wonder if he paid her to say that. I wonder if he paid Stormy to say that it was false. That, my friend, is the question. That is the question. To Stormy or not to Stormy to the check? You said, oh, great observation, Tony. You said the WHO announcement was just a show. He'll send them the money in a couple weeks, quietly. Yeah, he paid for gag orders. You know what? I heard him today when they asked if he'll, go back into it, the WHO, and start funding it again. And he started reading off a list of demands. And you know what I got from that? That's what we should do. Be reading off a list of demands. I want this, and this. It seemed like what he's trying to do is leverage them now. We're 15% of your budget. We're not getting what we want. We'll pull out. And so people are kind of panicking, but hey, what is there to panic over? They didn't tell us the truth about China. Maybe not because they didn't want to, because they couldn't. They literally couldn't. The chili on those suckers be good. I'll be tearing them two pieces. All right, I'm about to get back to it, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. See, I tried to throw that extra stank on that back. Back. I know I can't sing. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Don't go nowhere. You'll be okay. Look. I know you done heard something you didn't want to hear before. I couldn't help it. It just jump up out my body sometimes. I just hit a note every now and then. I just hit a shooby dooby doo. I can't help it. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. On a break, I was talking to Tone. And we were talking some more about these press conferences, and then we were talking a little bit about the WHO, the World Health Organization. Now, there are a bunch of people who say, you know what, it was a bad move to pull out of the WHO. It was a bad move. People say, you know what, that was stupid. That was stupid. Why would he pull out from the WHO when the WHO is apparently looking out for us? And and we give what I forget the exact amount, 10 billion or 50, not no, maybe not even that, not billion. It's in the hundreds of millions or 50 million or something like that. I don't got the numbers in front of me, so I don't want to elaborate on it. I know we give 15% to the WHO, to the World Health Organization. And the World Health Organization is comprised of over 130 different nations. And so nations appoint members to the WHO. And so the way that I'm looking at it, and the way that I've been looking at it previously before this announcement, and I've been doing a little bit of digging and research before this because I thought it was very interesting what the WHO did. So they are funded. We fund them 15% out of over 130 nations. And what they do is they're supposed to go to different places and basically check the weather. They're supposed to find out what's going on with pandemics and health, you know, health problems that may spur and spread to other people, and they come up with solutions for it, and they're supposed to give guidance on it. You know, from a world perspective, we all in this together. But the thing is, when it comes down to China and when it comes down to the WHO, see, the WHO, they don't have an army. They don't have a government. They're not a government. They don't have no power. So how are you going to make China do something when they don't want to do it? You're just going to ask and ask and ask and ask, and they say no, and oh well, go home. There's nothing you can do. I had somebody earlier point out to me, say, well, there's members from all different nations, and I said, well, that I get it, but that's not the gist of it. Those members can't do nothing about it if a particular nation do not want to take their guidance or don't want to listen to them. And so, in the case of the Wuhan virus, well, coronavirus, well, COVID-19, when it was in Wuhan, when it was in the province of Wuhan, and when China was not being forthright about the numbers and acting like, what was happening wasn't kind of happening, the WHO was parroting what China wanted them to parrot because the WHO didn't have no power to get their feet on the ground and actually investigate. They couldn't get through to find out. I mean, how? There's no power there. There's nothing they can do. And so when he says I'm going to cut the funding, this is something that I noticed he's been doing with a lot of things. It's not just the WHO. He plays hardball with them. It's a business tactic because, again, if we fund 15% of their budget, and again, their budget isn't much for one. And so by saying I'm going to take away 15% of your budget and then say when they ask today, are you going to ever go back to it? Or are you ever going to give back to it? He says, well, if they meet these demands, if they do this, if they do that. And so that's a leverage game. That's a leverage game. I have leverage because you want the money. I have leverage because you need me to operate the way that you guys are operating. And there's a bunch of lawsuits and stuff going on with the WHO. And by not being with the WHO, people says, well, you don't have anybody looking out for you. But this is the thing. They're not looking out for you if they don't have the ability to look out for you. So do I think it was a mistake disbanding the WHO? I would say no, but I do think he should have had more of a plan, something with structure to be able to explain to the people how data is going to be collected, sifted through, disseminated, and for us to understand. And it has to be something that's credible and reliable because for some reason people have this reliable sense when it comes to the WHO, but the WHO has actually, when you look, been leaning towards China. China is coming in with the strongman tactics and they are kind of getting their way. And you guys know I'm not the biggest nationalist in the world. I'm not trying to say, everything is right, everything is wrong. But then at the end as well, people are saying, well, Tyrone, he's using this to scapegoat for him not being prepared. And I say, well, that's great. I mean, I'm not saying that's great as if that's what he's not trying to do. I'm trying to say that's true. But it was still also a good idea to defund or take the money from. And I don't like to say defund because this is how the media works. This is how hearing things so many times work. When you hear the word defund, your mind goes back to the Planned Parenthood argument, to the Planned Parenthood debate. So when you hear defund, a negative connotation comes with it automatically, because last time you heard the word defund pounded into our heads, it was over Planned Parenthood. And so everybody was going to take a side on that regardless. I get it. Whatever side you take is the side you take. I think that's your predilection. That is completely up to you. But on this, I don't want to say defund, because when I say defund, you're automatically going to think it's bad. So how about if we change the term and said, you know what, leverage. He's doing a leverage move. And this is sometimes what people have to do to get what they want, to get what they want. And again, the WHO was parroting what China was saying when China was giving misinformation, disinformation, and false information on the effects of the Wuhan virus on the numbers. And so the numbers, so the information that was giving to not just the United States, but other nations, other countries around the world, was coming from the WHO. So there are people that are not happy with the WHO. The WHO didn't listen to Taiwan's guidance on what to do. Taiwan was trying to give them information, and they didn't want to listen. And then Taiwan is ahead of the curve. And so look, and so for me, it's not one of those things to where, you know what, Donald Trump's the president, so it's bad. Or, you know, and I wasn't one of those people that said, you know what, Barack Obama's the president, so it's good. I think we're too busy right now at this point in time, constantly worried about the individual as a person. We do think that does play some importance, but sometimes we have to worry about the policies and the things that are being done on the day to day. Because if something benefits you, are you going to turn it down because it's from a politician that you don't like? Speaking of that, I've been listening to people today, and I've been watching people today over social media, over different platforms, literally go out of their way to make fun of each other for this stimulus check. I've seen people say, well, if you don't like Donald Trump, if you don't like Donald Trump, then don't spend the check, send the check back. And I would like to say, in my personal opinion, that's asinine, because Donald Trump is not digging in his pocket sending you a check. It's not his money. It's your tax money that paid into it. So it's not like you're just getting a free check. It's not like you're getting a free check. And when people say that, it makes me feel as if we haven't studied politics in a whole enough. Because I look at it like this: politics should go like this. All right. And I'm going to say this to all the people who dislike Donald Trump and hate Donald Trump. I understand it, but still play the politics, right? Because it's like this. To tell somebody that they shouldn't accept a check because they dislike Donald Trump is asinine. This is how you play it. You take what you could get, and when it comes time to vote, then you vote him out. You take time to get what you want, and then you vote him out. If he's going to give you something, take it, then vote him out. You're going to make fun of people who is getting tax money back, which very well be far under the amount that it may take to keep them going. Why? I don't get the connection there again, because Donald Trump's not reaching in his pocket to pay that. So we got a caller on the line. Let me get to the caller. 1230 the source. Caller, what's on your mind? What's on your mind? Loud and clear. How you feeling this evening? Okay. Why are you disillusioned? What you seeing? We're gonna have to do a show about that. And maybe we could get some people in and start talking about the topic. I think with Donald Trump, it was a well, I won't say it was a slow road to his ascension to everybody. Well, I won't say everybody, to a lot of people feeling as if he's racist. I think we started with the birther thing. And the birther thing, people, this is a black man, and you're trying to delegitimize his, where he's from, his stature by saying he's American, his birth certificate, he don't have a birth certificate. And I think that that's funny because although I do think that was very demeaning, it was started by Hillary Clinton and adopted by Donald Trump.
Oh, he's a xenophobe and all of this. But see, people don't give them credit for their hypocrisy, man. You got to be fair-handed with the criticism. You just can't be one-sided.
Well, I think that's the I think that is the danger of not being fair-handed with your criticism, is because when you overpaint, then you can see the paint outside the lines. So you have to be fair with your criticism, and that's why I'm talking about this WHO thing, because I do think if there was another president, people wouldn't be mad. And I do think that about him being racist, I think it's a lot of things to do with things in the past. And I don't know if people could specifically point to something and say, this is what he did that was racist. And at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I do think that the media, well, a certain portion of the media has wanted to twist it into a race thing constantly, because I think that is good for them to keep us stuck in the same, to keep us on that wheel. Here, let me do this. Let me add somebody. 12:30, the source caller, what's on your mind?
Our brother Amir, man, what's that?
Brother Amir, what's up with it, man? Glad to hear your voice, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, 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 for real. So, man, my man said it. He said, I don't just necessarily see anything in particular that Donald Trump has went out of his way to um bring habits to black folks. And I'm really just Donald Trump in office, so I've really changed my association, man. Like I've been a black nationalist, man, down with the struggle and the movement. But I ain't down with none of that. Black people have been so upset them. I don't even fool with them like on that level before, bro. Because I'm not gonna play that. I'm not gonna play that game and act like this white boy has done something to me and my family or my people. Because he has. I ain't gonna play that game. I'm just not gonna do it. What I do is that he has an issue with the Hispanic. So do I. The ones that are me too. I do.
Okay. And see, now look, now this is what's going to happen. For what you just said, there's going to be, let's see, 175 million people who's going to say that that was xenophobic, Amir. What would your answer be?
Well, the thing is, again, when you put in a certain tax bracket, and I've been a decent, guy to make decent money. I'm in the music business, man. So I get my money differently than most people. And I have to pay a lot of that money out. And I know what my taxes go toward. It goes to the country. And a lot of the con and the games that you play on the country by the Hispanics, not just them, a lot of Africans, a lot of Chinese and Asians, all kinds of different people. But the Hispanics are the predominant game players in Texas. I'm in Texas. I can't say New York, but here I see what happens. And I know that it's not xenophobic, it's simply true that they are something that just drive with the con game, When they travel to make the pilgrimage from the south, from Honduras, El Salvador, you know that the women were said to just have sex randomly during that period to get pregnant by the time they got to the border, so they could say, I'm pregnant, and they know that it was going to be a different treatment. And once they got to the border, got across got into American soil, and had the baby, now they're anchored in. The power is there now. It's not as easy to get fortunate. Game is what people trying to stop, and I'm down for that. But particularly black folks, they don't care about no black folks. We're not on the radar. Black folks take up everybody else's struggle as many did.
You know what? I'm gonna say something, Amir, and I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think he worried about us that much either. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that get mad when I say that. I'll be like, well, I hear you, but look, I'll put it to you like this, and I don't know, and it might not sound best, and it might not sound good, but hey, this is Soapbox Hero. We be honest with how we feel. I feel if I came up to a light right now, and it was myself, a guy from Mexico, and a guy from the Middle East. From the first time in my life, I might not be the first person they want to pull over. But they not worried about us, right? Yeah.
We went to our police brutality thing on, with them shooters and black people up there quick to shoot us. Yeah, and I just see the Hispanic fight that struggle. I saw a couple speaking out, but when you listen to talk shows, they don't talk about IDU. They think we're stupid for fighting for them. And they know that in most cases, they want us out of their way. So it's like these Negroes are so dumb to fight for us. We really want them out of our way. If the white folks would ask us to eliminate the black, we would jump on the way, but we, on the other hand, them that they're trying to get rid of, we're trying to fight against them. Yeah, we're trying to get rid of them. And all we doing is saying, I believe the black that work hard to get, I want them to be able to move into and migrate into society, successful and be productive. And I want to be finished on the country. And that's the fight against them. That's crazy. You got to be blocked up.
Go ahead. Nobody who's blocked. Go ahead. We hear you. I was just listening. Go ahead, Green.
Everything that brother is saying, man. Look at here, man. He said exactly what I'm trying to get the point to be. We ain't the dogs in the hunt right now. Y'all got to trust it. Like I said, Donald Trump has rearranged the court. The people are mad, but he has rearranged the court to put a stop to this falsified immigration stuff they coming up. Like the man said, these people are gaming, man. They're gaming at the border. There's a lot of money being sponsored to help these people pretend like they're victims coming across that border. And it's not right.
The Democrats do fund a lot of their efforts.
Well, when it comes down to Donald Trump being a racist, and you might not know this, Amir, this is something that I've asked many people on many occasions. And what ends up happening is people end up really getting mad at you for first asking the question. Now, I could completely agree, but they don't give a damn if you agree or not. One, you're not supposed to ask on details of why, he's racist. And my thing is this, whether you feel he's racist or not, I feel you should have your own reasons for it. It shouldn't be the reasons that have been driven to you by a narrative. When you always hear people say, well, in Charlottesville, he said they were good people on both sides. And I've listened to that whole speech numerous times. And what I get out of him saying that, and again, with me saying this, you guys do know it makes it hard for me. But I'm being honest, what I got out of him saying that was, there's good people on both sides. There are people that want those statues there, and they believe it's part of their, history. And they were out there marching for that. What he was saying is everybody wasn't there everybody wasn't a skinhead that was there. Everybody wasn't a Nazi. And so between Antifa and the Nazis, you had good people on both sides. You see what I mean?
Yeah, you have to think objectively, man, when you're dealing with situations like this intellectually. You can't be passion driven, because what I don't understand again is Trump is an ugly old rich white man. Okay, he's not the multi-billionaire claiming to be. He's richer than all of us. Okay, and what do we expect from a rich old white man?
Besides to act like that.
I tell you what I expect from him. I expect him to leave me alone. I'm gonna get mine. I don't want him to give me nothing to get out of my way. But I expect him to identify with me on my level. How? That's right.
Well, and
that is good. What? But you know what?
Go ahead, Greeley.
People forget, for example, Shaquille, those guys say he's my friend. I think it's recent on YouTube where Shaquille O'Neal said, hey, Donald Trump's a good man. I remember Jay-Z said he was cool, he helped me with my finances early on in my career. Donald Trump was everybody's baby once upon a time. Everybody until he became the president, and then everybody turned on him. And it's not about this xenophobic stuff, because in California today, Gavin Newsom just passed legislation that illegal aliens are going to get $125 million funding bill for whatever it needs to take.
Yeah, and I saw 75 million of it is coming from you guys.
Saying so that's what you saw. We don't have any representation. See, we're under a dictatorship in California. They do what they want to, and the people here are too ignorant to take it.
Well,
These people in Sacramento, just take them and throw them out.
well, to me, a lot of the problem isn't just it is Washington, but I think that the media is complicit in the narrative that is being derived. Because with Donald Trump, like again, and sometimes people get frustrated when I do it, but the press conference when he said "you people," but with the media when he said it to the black reporter about 2 weeks ago. Now the media put it out there as if he was, talking down to black people when he said "you people." But for people who watched the press conferences, it was clear that he was talking about the PBS reporters and the CNN reporters, and I think it's the New York Times reporters that he has been going and he has been going back and forth with them, and he that is in his vernacular. He always says "you people." And so today I even mentioned it. I said, and I was talking about what I thought was good and bad in the press conference, but I harkened back to that. I said today he said "you people" to a white lady, and that part isn't in the news. So that should tell you that there is a clear bent on trying to make you feel a certain way. And for me saying that, that doesn't make nobody a sellout or none of that. It just means I'm looking at it for what it is, but I feel like a lot of us don't have that ability or don't want that ability. Go ahead, Greeley.
Well, let them attack me. Call me everything you want to call me. But I tell you this, the Democrat Party has made their case and made their policy of brainwashing African Americans at every election time, telling you race, 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 race. Republican, 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 race, race, race. They've done that so well. They marketed that. They got a patent on telling black people that's your problem. There's them people over there. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, everybody's a multi-millionaire, including even broke. Bernie Sanders is rich. Everybody rich.
And
it's on race. We stuck in the race bubble.
Go ahead, Amir.
Yeah, and look at all. Look at all of this. All the Democratic big shot districts are run down. They're poor and unattended to the education level is horrible. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I'll vote my agenda. Whatever I feel is appropriate for me is what I go with. But I'm not trained by each one particular party to be loyal to them.
Amir, wait, no. It don't matter that you say you're an independent. They're still going to say you're a Republican. I get that all the time. I say I'm an independent. I can start off a topic and say, you know what? I think Donald Trump is a terrible president. I also think that the media does try to play games to make him look a certain way. Oh, you a Republican? I'm like, wait a minute. What did I just say?
Hold on. I got one for you, brother. For example, if I say, hey, man, I'm not a Christian. They're going to say, oh, you're an atheist? It's the same connotation. Right. Whenever you disagree with a direction, they label you another direction. And I'm not happy.
Absolutely.
I ain't let nobody tell me what I am because I don't do what they want me to say.
And I find it is funny is a lot of the tactics that people that, Democrats point and they harp on Republicans for doing, like bullying, and they do the same thing. They do the exact same thing. It's to the point they don't even realize they have the same argument just in different directions. Go ahead.
I would say it's two wings on the same plane. And listen, when it comes down to the Democrats, you're talking about tasteless, classless, fight dirty. The Republicans, I think, are weak compared to the fight. They don't get dirty and take the same tit for tat shots and low balls that the Democrats. The Democrats is no, they dirty.
Well, see, I might have to disagree a little bit there because The Republicans are very, very dirty too. And well, we used to. I think the Democrats, their dirtiness is more covert, so we don't really see it. You know what I'm saying? Like we see it when we step back from it, but when you're in it, you don't realize it. You
Brother brought that to the forefront and made it really, really.
They don't believe it, Amir. They don't believe it because they hate Donald Trump. Go ahead, Greenland.
Well, hold on a second. You mean to tell me that Adam Schiff didn't, in the end, admit that he sensationalized the phone call?
He did.
Added words in there that Donald Trump made, and that's not dirty. Nothing's dirty.
But it didn't make it did not make the news. You guys see, it was a flash by night. You see, and that's what I mean.
The media, that's why the media is liberal, man. You know, Fox has even done started to become somewhat liberal, and I'm not sure what direction when the direction change took place.
I got to see that.
Yeah, but Fox is like some of the things that they say is kind of like I don't agree with you on that, bro. You know, the media it's just who controls the country. Give us the information they want us to believe, and we believe it.
Yeah, and look, Amir and Greenland, this is what I have gotten to the point too. Because what I'll do is I'll break down legislation. I'll say, forget all these feelings. And then even when it comes down to Joe Biden, I always laugh. I ask people, I say, you tell me one way Donald, because I'm not going to say that Donald Trump isn't a bigot. And then as far as racism, I don't know the man. So when it comes down to racist policies, I haven't seen the policies that affect Black people more than they affect any other poor person. And so I think it may be more of a class thing, but far as a race thing, sometimes I say I'm trying to get there. I just don't see it. But I say, but I would like you to tell me, and Greenland, you've seen this. I say I would like you to tell me why he's racist, but Joe Biden isn't. And you never get an answer. You never get an answer. You will never get even a response. It'll come something else about what he's doing. And I'm saying, well, where we're talking about racism, let's go racism for racism, and let's see who's the most racist. Let's see who get the most racist points after we add them up. And nobody want to have that competition.
Right. I'd like to clarify something for the record on the air real quick. If you do your statistics, the many Black people say when they're mad, there are more poor white people on welfare than Black people in this country. So every time they get the fear factor that he might cut into welfare services, it's going to hurt poor white.
Well, it'll hurt Black people too, though, and it might hurt Black people disproportionately by the fact that there's more by numbers, but it's more Black people by percentage. You see.
And when you add that in, and you also group in disability, yeah, we bad.
Right. My point, I'm not trying to say that the Blacks will be harmed any more than the whites, but I'm just saying per capita, you got more poor white trash in America than poor white Black.
Yeah, per capita, absolutely. And Tony says, pick a team, D or R. It's the divide and conquer. And I completely agree with that. And I think that people get so blinded by D or R that they stop looking at the people behind the D and the R. You see what I mean? We're so busy, Republican, Democrat. I'm like, what about this person? I'm not voting for a party. I'll tell you what. I don't care if it's Joe Blow, Alaska, and he talking about I'm gonna give you, and it lines up with the things that I think that I want out of a president, the things that I want in line for my life, my community, the people around me, the people that I think, that I would love to see something happen for. I'm voting for them. I don't care if they're Republican. I don't care if they're Democrat, Green Party. I don't care if they a parakeet swinging from the tree. I don't care. I don't care. And that.
Too, my man. It's like one thing you said about Trump. Everybody looked up to Trump back in the day during the fights and all the glamour. Sure. Trump. Everybody. Yes, sir. I'm a Trump. I'm gonna be a boss man. Trump. And when he started going toe to toe with Obama, which was a playoff of Hillary Clinton's whole idea of Hillary Clinton, people took that to heart, bro. Now, Hillary because why? Democrats. But when Trump, the same thing, man, he ain't been able to be redeemed from that statement.
Well, that's happened on many statements. That's happened on many statements. Make America great again. He didn't originate that term, not even in American politics. It was used in American politics prior to Donald Trump. It became something. And look, and I'll be honest with you guys, when it comes to Donald Trump, I think he's a terrible leader because again, he's bellicose. He don't know how to deal with people. And like right now, when people need calm, he's always fighting the battle. But then I have to look at the other side. This is why he's always fighting the battle, because the coverage isn't going to look a certain way. And he does lie, and he manipulates, and he won't answer certain questions.
Politicians do what they think.
But this is the danger. This is the danger.
Yeah, go ahead.
So not only do we have politicians that's lying, we got a president that's lying. We also have a media that's lying and lying a lot too. And my thing is this. Even when it comes to the Democrats, this is my thing. When it comes to certain situations, like even with the whole coronavirus, I always say, you know what? Yes, I do think that the blame falls on the doorstep of the president, but I also blame the full Congress and the full Senate because not only did he know it was coming and thought it was a joke, so did they. Now, people are only going to report that he thought it was a joke. But none of the Congress got out there and done nothing either. We know they love to grandstand whenever they get a chance. They didn't say a word. They didn't say nothing. They started selling stock and being quiet. And people always say, well, and this happened yesterday. Somebody says, well, it's his job. And I said, yes, he's the president, but their job is the checks and balances. So if the checks and balances fail as well, they have to take part of the blame. But people hate Donald Trump so much that they don't want to put none of the blame on nobody else either. You see what I mean?
But propaganda from the media, where I be honest with you, I would have probably missed it too. I would have thought it was just a game that he is shooting at me, trying to distract me out there. And that is blew it out too. I mean, it was an error, big error, but I mean, he was not coming at with
Well, my thing is, go ahead, Greeley.
To put it bluntly, it's manufactured mayhem, and the media participates, and the parties participate. It's called manufactured mayhem, where they want everybody distorted and confused. And it's what he said.
Well, I think at this point we do get we have a lot of confusion to the point to where people are so confused we no longer have standards. And I'll give you guys an example. I saw somebody the other day, they posted, well, why isn't the media going after Joe Biden? He was accused of sexually assaulting a woman. And I look at it like this, go after him the same way you guys went after, Al Franken or Rory Moore down in Alabama or anybody else. And so what they say is, well, Donald Trump got away with it. I'm like, so you dislike Donald Trump so much that you're willing to lower your bar to where you're not even going to want to investigate if somebody else was sexually assaulted because Donald Trump got away with it?
Example of what you just said, that happens in our community. From the church to the criminals on the corner selling crack to the molesters, if we like them, we turn our head and let somebody else catch them. We don't want to catch them and turn them in. We just look away from them. We say, well, they guys, good old boy, he ain't really done too much bad. I see this, good old fella in the neighborhood. So I don't know, I ain't seen that. Whereas, darn well what you did. You may have even witnesses, but you won't go against it if you like it. If your favorite is favorable in your mind.
Yeah.
You're black community.
And look, and to that point, we're gonna take it a little further. Since people know, or since media agencies, and not even just media agencies, but companies as well, since they know that people lean toward what they're biased to, the agencies lean toward bias as well, because that's a way to keep you there. That's a way to keep you there.
That they stroke your ego, dude.
Absolutely, they give you exactly what you want. And look, and we'll take it even a little further. When it comes down to social media, your algorithm only give you things that you agree with. So when people think that everybody, because they friends agree with them, the algorithm puts you with people who say like things, who have like interests, and who posts are similar. And so if there's something, go ahead.
a lot of people don't even know what algorithms are. They're even understand that what that does, and how that follows you with the catches and the cookies and link you up and keep you connected with people like-minded, like you said. And when you're a rat, you're going against something, you don't see them hook you up with other people that are radical like you, going against their agenda.
In fact, what they do is they suppress you. They suppress you and they don't put you into the algorithm.
Block you again instead of keep you off you.
Like they do Little Rick. They block Little Rick all the time. He might say something that's actually factual. It'd be factual, and Little Rick be in jail for a week.
Hey, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm probably the most loved and hated person on social media myself because I say things that are true, and I go to jail, they run back and check it out, then they release it. So we apologize. It wasn't what we thought it was because I'm very slick with words. I put stuff out there just cutting the edge of the rules. You know.
Rick say, nah, 30 days per pop. Hey, Amir, look, I'm gonna give you the final word, and I'm gonna get to the next caller. Go ahead, man. Give me the final word.
Okay, man. At the end of the day, we just got to focus on trying to stay safe and stay healthy, and we got to understand that we're in a situation where this government, like other governments, probably all governments, ours is not as dictatorship as a lot of others, but we're under the rule of an iron fist, and so much lying and falsehoods and propaganda being spewed by both parties, the media.
Thank you.
And we just got to understand that we got to look out for us and stop riding with each other because in most cases, people don't do research. They're ignorant, they're not educated, and they just ride with each other. And I just sit back and listen and just go, how can you come to this conclusion? You've done not one piece of footwork. You've done not one piece of research to be able to try and stand on this position so firmly. And I just give up. I have to worry about my at a close distance rather than trying to reach out to the world. That has worked for me.
Amir, I said I was going to give you last word. I got one more thing I want to add in because it's something that how we get these the common denominators. The common denominator is the love of Barack Obama for a lot of people. That's what I boil it down to is when you talk to people and you talk to people, when you talk to people, it always ends up coming down to, well, Barack Obama. And I'll say, what does this have to do with Barack Obama? But go ahead, Green.
Barack Obama was really insignificant to African Americans. I don't know why people like to put him up on a pedestal and make it look like he was so significant, but I got verified that he created more white wealth than black wealth. So it's really insignificant to African Americans.
Well, yeah, the wealth gap did increase. But go ahead, Amir. Now you really got the final word, and we're gonna get to this next caller, Rona. Caller, I see you. Go ahead, Amir.
Yeah, well, again, when it comes to Barack Obama, I didn't identify with him. I didn't understand him because he didn't appear to coming through gate. He didn't appear to have me in mind. He seemed to be a guy that was going to try and be a leader that was going to go through his presidency being afraid to offend. And that's what ended up happening.
I think he was very, very afraid to offend. But Amir, you know what? I think that sometimes the afraid to offend, even if we back up and look at the whole overall landscape, Democrats always look like they're afraid to offend. But I think the looking like you're afraid to offend is your way of passing things that you agree on, but you can act like it's disagreeable.
Right. Absolutely. You said it, man. Well,
appreciate you, Amir.
So catch up with you later in the PM, my friend.
Absolutely. Have a good one. I appreciate you, Amir. All right. All right. Well, Greta, I knew you were going to say that was a great call. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Call back. 12:30 The Source. This is Soapbox Heroes. Caller, what's on your mind?
Man, you want to slim them fingers down.
I know. I got to do something. I started juicing last night, just drinking juice and vegetables. And man, it feels good, but it feels bad at the same time. We'll talk about that later. What's on you? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, man, we're a sad state of affairs. You know, on the conversation y'all just had,
Okay.
when we have rushed to the bottom, when you got two sex offenders.
You're right.
I mean, for the life of me, I don't understand this, Tyrone.
Right. And you know, we have rushed to the bottom when we're rationalize it by pointing to what the other sex offender did.
That's my point.
We how low do you lower the bar is the question. And look, I see people who are, you know, very moral people and very upright people who are willing to anything that's going against Donald Trump, they'll be like, well, Donald Trump, look at him. And I'm like, so what are you saying? That's what you're okay with that? So you're arguing against it because you don't like it, but you're okay with replacing it with the same thing. I don't get it.
Well, I don't know who the third party candidate is, but hell, that should be the option for everybody.
Especially if they get in there and say something right. Don't it seem like it would be so easy to captivate the nation right now? Don't it seem so easy? The problem is this: we got this two-party system, and in the two-party system, the establishment is running the system. I was saying earlier, a lot of things they agree on. So the argument isn't the argument isn't whether they agree or not, because they agree. It's like this. You and I, you know, we see a big old bag of money over there, and I say, "You see that bag of money?" And you look at me and say, "Yep." And I say, "Well, I want to take that money for us." And you say, "You know what? I want that money too." But the fact of the matter is, when we take that money, people are going to be mad. Some of my people are going to be mad, and some of your people are going to be mad because it's really their money. And so you say, well, what's the problem? I say, well, we're going to take the money, but you're going to take the fall for this one. Then you're going to look at me and say, I'm not taking the fall for this one. I got to get reelected. The argument isn't over the principle. We agree on the principle. We just disagree on who's going to take the blame.
Make it to get the money, because I ain't leaving no witnesses.
Don't leave no witnesses. Look, a dead man can't talk, you know. And right now we are in the two-party system, so that leaves somebody to talk. But yeah, man, that's how I've been viewing it, is that, you know, it's they really align on a lot of things, and they do a whole lot of arguing and a whole lot of posturing.
Separation. There's 2 degrees of separation with these jokers. I was in the financial service industry, and our arm of that industry was telling us we need to donate money, because we got friends on both sides of the aisle. And I was in a room full of good old boys and good old conservatives and good old people who want to assimilate. And so, and he said, look, I know you good old boys in here. I know y'all ain't down with the Democrats, but we got a friend in Charlie Rangel. Investigation right now, but he's a friend of our industry.
And Charlie Rangel lived under investigation too.
But here's the point. Here's the point, Tyrone. But see, conservatives supposed to have the moral authority, right?
Right.
But you supposed to be the moral authority and ethics and everything else.
Right.
Here's somebody that's on the opposition party that you gonna look out for because they're gonna help your party.
Right. And this is my thing. When it comes to the Republicans, sometimes people say, well, why you don't talk so much about the Republicans? I say, well, I do. You guys just don't hear that part because it's preaching to the choir. You just don't like when I talk about the other side, because I talk a lot about Republicans too. Republicans, the thing about the Republicans is they're the devil you know. And so sometimes we got to talk about the devil you don't know.
That's what Green was saying. You know, one of them was saying on that call. Some of these Democrats you familiar with, and you gonna look over some things, but let the other side do the same thing. And like I said, man, we just need to carry around a jar of Vaseline, because both of them running the train.
And look, and the line and the smoke is getting longer. Later, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Oh man, look, you guys, this today was fun. Today was fun. We didn't get to the story about the people, the Africans in China, but I'll give you a quick rundown and we'll talk about it again and we'll talk about it some more tomorrow. So African students, expatriates, Africans that are living in China. In China, they are making them quarantine, whether they have coronavirus or not, whether they're tested for it or not. They're not allowed in a lot of public venues. There was a sign at the McDonald's that said, you guys can't come here. In fact, they're sending a lot of them back to Africa after 4 Africans were found in the area of the Wuhan province with coronavirus. Four. The nerve of them after all them people they've had with the coronavirus, they find 4 Africans and they want to start pointing fingers. 12:30 the source. Caller, what's on your mind?
Tyrone.
What's going on?
Hey man, check it out. I'm gonna be short and sweet, man. When it comes to this election that they're presenting the American public with both of these races, sex offenders.
Okay.
I mean, they both have issues with women making allegations. They both have issues standing racial claims. It's like,
yeah, and look, and one of them got issues passing racist legislation too. But go ahead.
Oh man, no doubt. It's like big government say, here, American public, this is what it boils down to. You got the red pill, you got the blue pill. The red pill still, it got a little tart sour taste to it. The blue pill tastes sweet, but both of them poisonous.
Both of them gonna knock you out. Hey, and look, man, this is the danger to me in only pointing out what Donald Trump does wrong. It allows everybody else who facilitates him to get away with it. It let everybody else who actually agree with him but acting like they don't, it lets them get away with it, which means the infrastructure will still be there for the next person to do whatever the hell it is that you think you don't like. They can still do it. You're not changing it. You're changing one person, leaving all the rules the same for the next person.
And he done set a whole new chapter of events the way the next person getting out is gonna say, well, he did it, well, he didn't do it. I mean, it's gonna be ugly.
It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly. Look, little Rick, what's up with Dr. Fauci, man? What's up with the WHO? Was it good to get away from him, man? Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. From this standpoint, the WHO don't have any power. And so they can't force nobody to do nothing. So why are you paying somebody who can't force nobody to do nothing? And then they sign with other people who pay less. Go ahead.
I never thought I would agree with Donald Trump.
Me neither. I'm not saying.
Hey, I'm a realist. And the truth ain't pretty all the time.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
He made an unpopular but smart move, and a lot of the American populace don't benefit from that move without these proposed mass vaccinations that put a little hinder to, you know?
Yeah. I hear you. Little Rick, I want to make a t-shirt. You know what I wanted to say? I wanted to say, black people, stop letting white people tell you when to be mad. I'm going to get a printed. Stop letting white people tell you when to be mad, because most of the time we mad, if you trace it back to the first person that was outraged, it was a white person on Twitter somewhere telling black people what they should think. And then a black person take it and start running with it. And next thing you know, we mad at what this white person told us to be mad at. And most of the time, it don't got nothing to do with us. Yeah, we wouldn't even worry about it. All right, man. Thanks for the call, little Rick. I gotta run. I'm out of time. I'm about to get that call. Like, you gotta go. You gotta go. You know I sneak in here to do this. Nobody know I'm here, but you. All right, man. I appreciate it. Hey, you guys, look. The time runs fast. The time runs fast. We can't even get all into all the topics because so many things are going on, and some of these topics are so rich. And so we're gonna talk about it some more. We're gonna talk about it some more. We're gonna be here tomorrow. Everybody over here in the YouTube streets, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Terrestrial radio. You guys, make sure you guys stay with us. We got wonderful shows all day long. We got Amber in the morning with New Day. We also have after that, we got Paris with the Morning Magazine. Then we got Person to Person with Michael Harris. After that, we got Memories and More with the incomparable Don Sam. Then we got my main man, Ralph Cooper. Yes, my main man, Ralph Cooper. But hey, you guys, look, and you know, after Ralph, then I sneak in here. I I cut a hole in the ceiling, and then I move a ceiling tile slightly over to the left and squeeze my way in. This is Soapbox Heroes, you guys. I'm gonna squeeze my way in tomorrow at 7. Much love, peace, respect, and hey, be objective. Be okay with listening and communicating with each other. Hey, it's love. Peace.
Well, it's just like a lot of the rich entertainers and stuff that they don't want to. They call the police when they see it in their neighborhood. But every white entertainer you see, they got a big 6'5".
That's why welfare won't be cut.
But you know,
It's just a stump speech. It is a stump speech.
KCOH Houston Legacy Citizens.
You got to call in one day, Tom. You got all of it. You got all the political insight. All of it. Man, I'm going to ask people again why Donald Trump is directly racist to black people. And I want to know. I'm not saying he is or not. I'm just kind of, I'm trying to figure out what he's done that's directly bad to black people, just to get an accurate answer, just to have an accurate answer. I think he's bad to poor people. And that's my thing. Not just poor people. I think he's bad for middle class people. I think he's bad for people who are not on the upper economic scale in the world. But far as just not liking black people, I don't know if he personally dislikes black people, but I don't know about policies that have just disproportionately affected black people more than they've affected all people, or more than they have affected all poor people. So, and I know the media is powerful, man. People don't believe it, but doing this, I get to meet a lot of people and talk to a lot of people, and even media people. I know we're a radio station, but we'll get access to go places. We'll go cover things. I covered a few campaigns, in the primary season, got to meet a lot of politicians, talk to senators, presidential nominees up close, get a feel for them and speak to them. And even before this, I've gotten an opportunity to be right there and listen and speak to a lot of people. And yeah, politics is a lot of games in politics, and the media is very, very, very powerful, especially if they're touching on what you believe inside and they're stoking that without any objectivity or without showing you another side of it. That's why I always like to make sure that I put multiple sides of a situation out there just so we can look at it from every angle instead of just looking at it from one angle, just so we can see every side of everything. I don't want to be blinded by something I don't know, whether I agree with it or not. I still want to know. I want to know things that I don't agree with, just so I can know. Think that's important. But all right, you guys, I'm about to get on. I'm hungry. I've been all I had was blended juice and vegetables. And this sucker, blended juice and vegetables. What'd you say, Tom? Because folks can only point to the lawsuit of denying blacks in his building and how he broke up with Amber. Well, yeah, there you go, the lawsuit in his building. And I would go on, and this is not excusing that. I know black landlords today that don't like renting to black people. I know black people that do not like renting to black people at all, at all. And so that is a bigoted and that is a racist thing to do. Him and his dad, right? And so yeah, I will put that on the side of racism. But what I'm saying, am I fasting? No, I just gotta go eat. What's for dinner? What's up, Karina? Um, you know, but far as policy, is he doing anything that's directly racist to black people? Bigots definitely come in all colors, and that's my point. That's my point. Bigots come in all colors. And so what I want to know, again, what policies has he presented that has been directly bad for black people? Now, I know what he does that a lot of people dislike. I know what he does that a lot of people who are like the Democrats and the media and even world organizations, they would dislike. They would dislike somebody that go against the norm. If I'm getting 20, 30 million dollars for free every quarter or every year, and somebody come in like, nah, this is a waste of money, of course I'm gonna start railing against that person. So I do think it's a lot of that. And then I think again, it's a lot of Trump's bellicose nature. He's a big child. He's a big child. All right, man. I'm gone. Thanks, Tom. I'll holler at y'all later. Bye, Betty Boo. And the other three of you in here, I don't know who it is. Whole country's comment too. But all right, y'all have a good one. I'm about to get out of here.